Let me turn my cell phone up as loud as it will go. I don't know where we want to.
I don't see the webcast on.
I don't know what's happening with the webcast. Vicky, is anything coming through on the webcast?
Not a thing.
Okay. Well.
Okay, you know what? Okay, I hear you guys now. You're good. You're live.
Okay, via web and phone.
Yes. Webcast is on.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
I'm good. Let's do it.
Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Education and Practice Committee meeting of the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians. My name is Dr. Carol Mountain, and I'm the committee chair. I would like to call this meeting to order at
BVNPT conference room.
Is leading the meeting.
Okay.
Are you guys leading?
No, go ahead. That was the office.
Before we do a roll call, I will provide detailed information on how this meeting works. This meeting is held via teleconference and webcast on Monday, April 20, 2020. All committee members are attending telephonically. I will ask the committee members and staff to mute their telephones to eliminate background noise, and when they are ready to speak, they can unmute their telephone. I will take roll call of each committee member for comments on each agenda item and for votes. Please identify yourself by name and each time you speak so our audience knows who is speaking. This meeting is audio only, and the visual available is the webcast information screen. We can take public comment on agenda items, and if you wish to provide public comment, please email your comments to bvnptboard@dca.ca.gov. Please include the agenda item number so your comment is read at the appropriate time. Please direct your question or comment to a specific person. If you are providing public comment, your name is not necessary, and please indicate how you would like us to identify you. There will be a pause after each agenda item to allow time for email comments to arrive. I will ask board staff if they receive any comments and ask the board staff to read the comments. I will either answer the question or refer to the committee members by doing a roll call. I will now do a roll call to establish a quorum. I will ask each committee member to respond here after I say their name. Paula Amazola de Herrera. Present. Donna Norton.
Here.
Cheryl Turner.
Here.
Based on the roll call, we established a quorum. I will ask you to please recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Agenda item 3 is introduction of the committee members and staff. My name is Dr. Carol Mountain. I'm the LVN educator member of the board and chair of this committee. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Paula Amazola de Herrera, and I'm a board member, public member.
Ms. Norton, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Donna Norton, LVN member.
Ms. Turner, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Cheryl Turner, public member.
I would like Ms. Yamaguchi to introduce herself and her staff.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Executive Officers. This meeting, Marie Cordero, our Supervising Nursing Station Consultant, Vicky Toledo, our Lead Analyst at Expert for the Day, and Dylan Marcy, our Education Analyst.
Legal counsel, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kenneth Swanson, Senior Staff Counsel with 33, General Counsel.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, we're welcoming stakeholders to the meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the stakeholders, and based on our teleconference situation, please know that we appreciate your time and presence with us today. Agenda item 5 is an update on the governor's executive orders, and Ms. Yamaguchi will provide the update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The governor has issued someone made a 40 executive order in response to
Can't really hear her, so I don't know if she can bring the phone closer to her herself, but
I'll move over.
Pardon me. The governor has issued a number of executive orders in response to COVID-19, several of which impact the work of the Department of Consumer Affairs. I think the committee members will know that there are a couple of workarounds designed to enable us to do our business without violating the Vaccine Act. And there are some other executive orders, not the least of which is the creation and launch of the health course system and some waiving of some professional licensing requirements to enable us to provide staff to work in the pandemic. Finally, the director of DCA has waived continuing education requirements, and we will not be performing any continuing education audits for the duration of the emergency. And that concludes that item.
Ms. Amazola, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
Ms. Norton, do you have any questions?
not at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions?
Well, just one. Yes, you're saying I couldn't hear you really well, Ms. Yamaguchi. You said that the continuing education requirements are waived at this time, or the deadline to complete them has been extended, or waived in order to work right now, or I
They're
couldn't really.
waived to be able to work right now. If you need to renew your license, it'll give you a temporary extension for the duration of the emergency.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is that better, by the way, audio?
Yes, better volume. I will now ask board staff if they have received any email comments, questions, and could they please read those comments or questions?
Madam Chair, we did receive one email question, which I think somewhat relates to this item. It would be, and let me read this. I have a concern regarding clinical hour requirements of LVN and CT students for licensure. Will classes need to be postponed until clinical sites accept the students again, or will stimulation be sufficient temporarily? And I or Ms. Valero could answer that question.
Please answer that question. Ms. Yamaguchi?
Oh, no, it's Marie. I'll answer it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So basically, at this time, in answer to this person, Ms. Angel, a concern regarding the clinical hour requirements for LVN and CT students for licensure. So the requirements are still the same. Classes, we're not postponing classes. The NECs, or the nursing education consultants, are working independently with each school, with each one of their schools, to find the best way to assist the student with graduation requirements and with completing program requirements.
Thank you. That was excellent. All right, let's see. Agenda item 7 is an update on education school fee bill. And once again, Ms. Yamaguchi, could you provide us with that update?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. We have been working to develop our proposed fee structure. The the problem right now is the fact that we do not know when the legislature will come back in session. We don't, our plan, I think, as we discussed at previous meetings, was to include this policy language in our sunset bill. At this point in time, like I said, we do not know when that's going to happen. We actually don't know if that's going to happen this year. So at this point in time, we have not made progress on this in terms of its legislation. And in terms of our development of the policy itself, staff has been working to prepare some better projections, and we hope to provide some outreach opportunities and some town hall meetings to actually discuss the proposed policy.
Thank you for the update. Ms. Amazola, do you have any questions, comments, or discussion?
Not at this time. No, thank you.
Ms. Norton, do you have any questions, comments, or discussion?
I think I heard the answer being that the content, the policy is being developed. There's going to be outreach, but we're kind of on hold.
Is joining the meeting.
Going on. Would that be a good summation?
Yes, Ms. Norton, that's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Anne is joining the meeting.
Hello? Ms. Turner, do you have any questions, comments, or discussion at this time?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Did the board staff receive any email comments, questions regarding this topic?
No, we have not.
Okay. We will move on to agenda item 8, which is the discussion and possible action on role of psychiatric technicians in the pandemic response. And Ms. Yamaguchi, once again, will you provide us with an update?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Right now, we have work to make sure that psychiatric technicians can apply through health score and can be considered for temporary work. Our staff worked to prepare something of a summary of the work that a psych tech can do in the pandemic, and we've also received further information on the differentiation of functions of various nursing personnel, including psychiatric technicians. Now, we did actually receive 2 inquiries specifically to this topic.
Hello?
Yes. One of them is fairly succinct, but the other is quite lengthy. I'm wondering, would you like them read into the record, or would you like them posted?
I think posted would be probably good. Can you summarize for us how this is being managed or where this is going?
Certainly. I'd be happy to. In answer to Spencer Swingle and the other one, Anthony Jarway, we do want to make certain that the psychiatric technicians do have the opportunity to participate and, as I said, to find the ways that we can process. So if anybody who has applied through health score and their application has come to us, we've been forwarding that to the governor's office. And in terms of other concerted efforts, because the focus of one of the inquiries was, of course, the very, very prominent need for mental health care being integrated into COVID-19 response. That's absolutely true. We've had conversations with colleagues at the board of psychology and the behavioral sciences to make sure that where there are some efforts being set up that are more centered around that mental health function, as well as treating COVID-19 specifically, and any other kinds of concerted efforts for maybe treatment, for example, of homeless. And that would be.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think our connection's unstable.
Aren't we all?
Ms. Amazola, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
I do not have any comments or questions, but it was very difficult to hear the comments. So if perhaps I'm not sure how we can get this to be cleared, but maybe we can send questions or comments after we read it up when it's posted.
Yes.
I guess.
That's an excellent suggestion. Ms. Norton, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
I believe what I heard, and again, it was difficult to hear. I think what may help the hearing part is if the person that is speaking, and I think Elaine is there with other people, if they can take it off speaker and speak directly into the phone, that would help a lot if they're doing the talking. But I think I heard that psych techs can work in the health corps. If they apply, they are being sent over to the governor's office. And then what I heard, which was something I hadn't thought about, is that there is a very distinct need for mental health right now, and this is where our psych techs may be able to offer support. So that was enlightening because I hadn't thought about that aspect of it.
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
No, I do not.
All right. Thank you for your comments. And agenda item 10, public comment on items not on the agenda. The committee may not discuss or take any action on any item raised during this public comment section except to decide whether to place the matter on the agenda for future meetings. Has the board received any email comments, questions that they could read that would be not pertaining to any previously discussed?
Madam Chair, we have not, but point of order, it seems we skipped over agenda item 6 and agenda item 9.
Oh, my apologies. Let's go back to agenda item number 6. Agenda item 6 is a discussion and possible action on education school admissions, and Ms. Yamaguchi will provide the update.
Thank you very much. It's the most popular subject of the day. At this point in time, the NECs have been working assiduously with all of the schools, and in certain instances where those schools have not had demonstrable resources to allow students to first enter, then have the didactics, and then have a hands-on experience, even with simulation or still class. The NECs have denied the application for a new class. At this point, I believe there's maybe 3 or 4. We've been receiving a lot of inquiries from other schools and also stakeholders and others with regard to an overall across-the-board stoppage of school admissions. And I wanted to make this very, very clear that we are not asking for a waiver to do so at this time. That as long as a school is able to demonstrate adequate resources, as long as they are able to show great caution in having students on their site and can accommodate in lieu of outside clinical facilities, they can accommodate the needed lessons via the simulations or the skill class. we have been saying that to go ahead. We would much rather people continue to concentrate the resources and time on the existing students, but we also recognize that a number of schools and programs have already made arrangements, have made scheduling plans, and have basically started the admissions process for a number of cohorts. My understanding is that the schools with ongoing admissions have already made plans to do so. So even if they have not actually admitted and started a program, they've already made the arrangements to start doing so. So summing up, we do not at this time plan to issue an order to stop admitting students. But as I said, the NECs are working very closely with every school under their purview to make sure that all those resources and all safety precautions are being observed. And we will be following this very, very closely.
Thank you very much for that update. Ms. Amazola, do you have questions or comments at this time?
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Norton, do you have questions, comments, or discussion at this time?
I do have questions because how does the understanding that schools had admissions planned and classes planned to start before this crisis hit, but how does this buck up against the shelter at home? I know a couple of my friends that are in RN school, they have gone to all online learning. There's no one on site. So how would we move towards saying that if they take an abundance of caution, they can have students on the school site while we're under shelter at home orders? I guess I'm not seeing how that's even possible.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that question. As we go forward, pardon me. As we go forward, you're correct that all the didactics have been moved online so that students do not have that classroom time need. And as they go forward, so my understanding, and Paul, of course, and not being a nurse, my understanding is not nearly as good as Ms. Cordero's, that the beginning part of the schooling are mostly on the didactic level, so they would be able to start. And then at a certain point, there would be the need for a hands-on component. And we have worked with the schools, and like our colleagues at PRN, we've been working to make certain that in lieu of actual hands-on clinical hours and experience, that the schools may use up to 50% of the regulation-specific hours in the simulation situation or the skills lab. So as they go forward, if they're using the skills lab, for example, they may not have more than 6 students there. But to answer your question, we do absolutely put this on the schools themselves to make that decision.
Did that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, I think I was confused. I couldn't hear that we're not stopping admissions, but they are moving to online. So that does answer the basic questions. Thank you.
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
Yes, I'm just trying to understand a little more. All right, so the online part, I can see how it works, and the clinical part, though, is on hold until further notice from the government?
Can I address that, Ms. Yamaguchi?
I would be delighted.
So at this time, not all clinical facilities are deferring students, but some are and some aren't. That depends on the clinical facility and how much PPE they have. Other avenues for providing clinical experiences, such as something called Shadow Health, which is a virtual clinical experience, are being used, and some schools are still running simulations where they're just having very small groups of students at a time, no more than 5, where they can still keep their social distance. So clinical experiences are still being executed in a variety of ways. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Thank you.
Did the board staff receive any email comments, questions that relate to this topic?
And we have not.
I'd like to move to agenda item number 9. Updates from the Supervising Nursing Education Consultant, Marie Cordero. Ms. Cordero, will you provide the update, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Carol. So I just have 4 quick things I just like to be aware of. That, so,
Marie, can you move closer to the mic?
Not the mic, the phone.
My phone.
It's my phone. I'll put it right in front of me. How about that?
That's great.
That is much better.
Yeah, better, huh? So first of all, the board, as of April 1st, we recently participated in something called Quick Results. It's a service that is provided by National Council State Board of Nursing. There is no charge to us, but what this is, you know, students are generally always very anxious after they take their Nclex, and they want their results immediately. So within 48 hours after testing, the student can get on this link on the NCSBN website, and for a cost of $7.95, they can check and see if they pass the Nclex. Now, that doesn't mean that it just satisfies their curiosity. So the official results still come from us, from the BBNPT, but that's just something that we had been working on for a couple of months to get that, so I'm very happy about that. The next item is, as you know, when coronavirus came, our testing vendors still have to test students, so that hasn't stopped, and our Pearson VUE and PSI, our vendors have made some modifications to the way they're testing students, as far as their testing capacity has been greatly reduced, but they are still moving forward. They're using social distancing. They're only letting so many students in at a time. So all that, but they've also modified the exam. The Nclex has gone from a 6-hour exam to a 4-hour exam. The maximum questions that the student receives has gone from 265 to 130. So those are some significant changes that I wanted you to be aware of. This modified exam will remain in place until at least July 4th, and then NCSBN will determine whether to extend the modification based on our current need at the time. So that's for the LVN. PSI is our vendor for our psychiatric technicians, and they have basically are doing the same, and they have had originally closed testing sites, and now they are gradually reopening them and adding more days to their testing schedule. And then the last thing, I think this is going to really be very, very good for us and for the schools. We are going to very shortly be our IV therapy and blood withdrawal, both the providers and the applicants. That will be available for them to apply online, and that will really, I think, have them have their results have the modifier to their license placed quicker, and I think it will also impact staff in the education division as far as since we're losing a staff person just this Friday who normally did those, that will impact us, that it will take a little ease the burden of the work on the education division. So that's what I have to say, and does anybody have any questions?
No, but as a provider, the IV therapy and blood withdrawal, I think that's really wonderful that it's moving online. Thank you so much.
Yes, and we're currently working on it. I want to have a formal, a formal policy process that we can send out to the providers so that they know this is coming and what they have to do. And then there's also the, the payment that has to be provided. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go, but once I figure it out, I will share more with everybody, most likely at the May board meeting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ms. Amazola Herrera, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Ms. Norton, do you have any questions, comments at this time?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Turner, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Board staff, did we receive any emails, comments, or questions regarding this agenda item?
If not, Madam Chair, but we did give the call-in information to some of a stakeholder, and he's not called in just yet. So if you wanted to call for item 10 and ask for public comment, that may be what somebody's waiting for.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is public comments on items not on the agenda. The committee may not discuss or take any action on any item raised during this public comment section except to decide whether to place the matter on the agenda for future meetings. Has the board staff received any email comments, questions, and could they read those comments or questions at this time?
We have not, Madam Chair, but there may be people on the line who would like to comment or ask questions.
Is there anyone on the phone line who would like to comment or ask any questions at this time? Okay. Ms. Amazola, do you feel that the information from the public comment should be on the agenda for our future meetings?
Since there's no public comment, there's no future agenda, right?
Correct.
Did I hear that
Ms.
correctly?
Norton. Yes, you had that absolutely correct. Ms. Norton, do you feel that the... Good.
I do not.
Ms. Turner.
No, there are no public comments, but you're still at agenda item 10, right?
We are still on agenda item 10.
Right. So no.
Okay. No. All right. So moving on to agenda item 11, I will do a roll call of our committee members for suggestions for future agenda items. Ms. Amazola, do you have any suggestions for future agenda items?
I think we should continue hearing on the admissions and training protocols of the schools given the COVID-19 crisis, and if the nurse educators are receiving information from the schools, we would love to get a report on that. Like what specifically are schools doing?
Excellent. Ms. Norton, do you have any suggestions for future agenda items?
I have a concern about the testing and the number of questions. Actually, I guess it's about the modified exam. And so I would be curious to see the results of the reasoning behind the modified exam and the results to see if it's something that we should be looking at in the future or what the result of that was.
Okay. And, Elaine, I actually know the answer to that. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to tell her.
Council?
All the agenda items that are related to the
She wants to secure the outcome of the.
That would be in Cordero's report, Madam Chair.
It relates to Ms. Cordero's report. Is that what you said?
Yes, so you recall agenda item 9.
So I could call agenda item 9 and answer that question for Ms. Norton.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so I would like to refer to agenda item 9, and I will provide Ms. Norton a response about the modified Nclex exam. And I think for the record, we should refer to the NCSBN website, where they have posted the research that they did about modifying the exam. And it still holds the same rigor. The reason that the exam was modified was to decrease the amount of hours that a participant on the exam sits in one of the exam rooms. So they have modified all the exam rooms so that the people taking the exam are still doing social distancing, but they've decreased the amount of time from 6 hours to 4 hours, I believe is correct. And they've also, the statisticians have worked very hard to keep the rigor of the test, and they've done a lot of research about this, and that's why they're just doing it as a temporary measure. Did that answer the question?
It does answer the question. I think the future agenda item would be to look at the results and see if it's possible that we need to go back to a 6-hour test, or if we would just stay with a 4-hour test, or what it's more the results. It would be a studying of the results later on.
I think that's already on the NCSBN agenda. I think they already have that as part of their future, and they'll keep all of us informed about what's happening.
Okay. Then I have no further suggestions for future agenda items at this time.
Ms. Turner, do you have any suggestions for future agenda items?
Well, I'm interested in item number 5, the governor's executive orders, being able to see the text of the orders so that, we can understand what's expected going forward, or at least a reference numbers so that we can try to look them up.
Oh, Ms. Turner, absolutely. We can certainly provide you that information. We have a fairly fine grid of that. I'm happy to make that available to the committee.
Thank you.
Has the board staff received any email comments, questions for future agenda items?
We have not, but actually, if I may, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a procedural question, if I may. Is it permissible for us, in light of the conversation about the testing, the duration of the NE analysis, is it appropriate for us to attach information from ACSBN's website to the meeting notes, the report?
Wouldn't that be a question for legal?
Yes.
Jim was here. Since the during the meeting, I think it's appropriate to include a link to that website in the minutes, but for reference. But I don't believe any material should be inserted in the minutes for the record relating to that. If it's information on the website,
Thank you.
Are there any further comments or questions from anyone at the board or board members?
Bless you. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mute myself before I sneezed.
Hearing none, we will address agenda item number 12, which is adjournment. We are adjourned. We will adjourn this meeting as of 2:49 p.m.
Thank you very much for your time.